start it up before we take it apart. Let's start it up before we take it apart. Kerosene, water, gas. Filled it up. Well, not hardly full. Open that choke all the way. Close that one, and we'll open this one very little. Got the engine on a trade not too long ago. The valves ain't right in it. Check the we just started up. Check the timing, the linkage and everything, and it's all in spec, just right. But the engine runs really hot on the output here in the exhaust system, on exhaust valve. Engine, it runs really hot right here. The reasoning for that is bad valves. If you move the valve, it's loose in the guide. These McCormick-Deering-engines from the factory did not have a replaceable 1.5 horsepower. They didn't have a valve guide that you could take out and put another one in. Once it gets worn, then you can either ream it out, put an oversized stem in it, or put a guide in it to bring it back to spec. Battery and a coil, low tension coil, battery. L magnets on the engine. These L mags are notorious about being hard to start. So you see I disconnected the wire from the igniter. The low tension coil and the 12-volt battery, and I'm going to hook that one right there, and I'm going to hook that one right in there on the ground. It just makes a circuit, that's all. The engine reasoning is the output of the mag. The low speed does not put out a hot enough spark to start it without a cranking handle. And as y'all know, I don't like cranking handles, so in order to start it safely, we'll start it with this system and then switch over to this system. You do not hook them both up at the same time. They tell me you'll zap the magneto. But make sure your valves are loose. Open up the needle valve very little. I'm going to choke it a couple of times without the ignition hooked up. Now we'll hook up the ignition, and I'd like to make a turn, so I'm going to raise that up to where it don't snap the igniter, and I'm going to turn it one more time. That's way to start an engine safely. Once the engine is running and has run in at enough minimum, then what you can do is take these to a weight and then connect this. Connect that wire to the igniter. The engine is now running on the magneto. No crank handle used. Open up the oiler, about 4 drops a minute. Leave this completely open. This needle valve is only open the needle valve is only open about, well, okay, let's shut her off and take her apart. Just the needle valve to where the engine runs quite well. Now to shut the engine off, close the needle valve. And the engine will quit running when the fuel runs out. You would ask, why would you take an engine apart that runs that good? I'll show you. With a few tools, let's just get right to it. Disconnect the magneto. A solid wire from the magneto to the igniter, a solid core wire will serve you best. The first thing you want to do we're going to take the head off and put new valves in it. First thing to do is remove this governor arm, being very careful with the parts, and this thing is fragile. But we have to move this arm in order to get the head off. Loosen up the screw on the governor fork yoke. Loosen up that set screw. Pull this rod out and it'll set this free. We'll put that back in there. We just probably call this doing a valve job, I guess would be the correct termination, maybe. This head outwardly here appears to be in really good condition. Nice day here on the east coast of Arkansas. We will have to make a new filler plug for the mixer That'll be a project over there on the lathe. The one in this one right here. And we got gasoline up yonder. So that does mean the fuel pump is working good. But the fuel does smell quite aromatic. Kind of back up your fittings. And this line right here, we will set this line right when we replace it. You can see that it should come out down here and come up in a more pleasing fashion. You never know what you're going to find when you open one of these engines up. It's good to open your engine. Now this engine was all together when I got it. And so I don't know nothing about the engine except it started and run. Then I discovered the heat on the exhaust side. So the next thing to do is to break it down. One head removed from the engine. The push rod spring is much too short for this engine. We'll replace that. Now one thing I can see right there that is not good. It was well worth taking this head off for this very reason right here. There's no glue on that gasket right there. No glue. It could not have sealed. Just could not have sealed. So we'll put a new gasket there. And while we're up here, let's just look in there. Oh yeah. That cylinder feels real good there. Let's go to the workbench and look at this head up close.